Iran's attack on Israel. What is India's stand and what it tells us? Also, in this election season, let's know something about election symbols. And finally, do sun-sized stars generate magnetic field? Let's learn. Hello everyone, I am Srivastava and I am here with the three must reads from the Indian Express today. आज की तारीख है 15 April, April 15th, and as I always say, the newspaper is like a textbook of current affairs which you must read, but you should also know how to read it, what to read in this, and go beyond the headlines to, see for potential questions for your exam. And इसके लिए मैं आपसे हमेशा कहता हूं कि यूपीएससी की वन ऑफ द वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट आर्टिकल्स ऑफ द यूपीएससी सेक्शन ऑफ द इंडियन एक्सप्रेस, जो कि मंडे टू फ्राइडे शाम तक आपको मिलता है, जहां पे आपको उस दिन का न्यूज़पेपर कैसे पढ़ना था, कैसे पढ़ना है, क्या पढ़ना है उसमें, एंड बियॉन्ड द हेडलाइंस जाके व्हाट आर द थिंग्स व्हिच यू शुड नो फॉर योर एग्जाम. Okay, so do read it, do subscribe for it, and make the best use of it. Now let's come to the first important read today. तो आज जैसे कि हम न्यूज़पेपर खोलेंगे, जो सबसे important news which you should know from the perspective of international news, India's relations with foreign countries, and it's the way it handles issues at international level. इस चीज को लेकर एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण न्यूज है, वो है ऑफ ईरान्स अटैक ऑन इजराइल. तो आप फ्रंट पेज पे जाइए एंड देयर इज अ वेरी बिग कवरेज ऑफ इट. इट सेज Iran attack, Israel debates response, US says won't take part in retaliation. Now, so has been an Iran's attack on Israel. We all know that it was in news in the past, few days. But आज का जो front page है वो इसलिए important हो जाता है because there is also a mention or a big mention or big coverage of India stand. So अब अगर आप ये news particularly pinpoint करूँ, that Delhi calls for de-escalation as Jaishankar speaks to both foreign minister. Okay, so what it tells that India is asking for de-escalation in this region of West Asia and Middle East, if we call it, Middle East. And then just besides it, there is a very important article by C. Raja Mohan which says contrast with October 7, why Delhi stand mark 4 key shifts in Middle East diplomacy. तो मैं आपसे कहूंगा कि आप ये जो पूरा न्यूज़ है इसका इंट्रोडक्शन पढ़ें. You will get to know what is happening. Then read what the Honorable Foreign Minister says about de-escalation in the region of Middle East. Then open your atlas, look at the countries of this region. Okay, so we already know about Iran, Israel. Look at Egypt, Qatar, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, UAE. These are the countries of this region. This map should be there in your mind always now, because questions can come, directly or indirectly. Okay, so you should know about this region. This is the first important thing I'm telling you. Now, the second thing which I'm telling you is go through this C. Raja Mohan's important article. Ab C. Raja Mohan isme batate hain, there are 4 key shifts in Middle East diplomacy of India. The first paragraph, I'll just read it. The Middle East is one of the most successful regions for Indian diplomacy over the last decade, but it continues to test Delhi's ability to navigate the region's competing imperatives. India's quick call for a de-escalation today in the aftermath of Iran's retaliatory strike against Israel stand in contrast. See, in contrast to Delhi's instant expression of solidarity with Tel Aviv at the highest political level immediately after the October 7 terror attack by Hamas. Now, as you will read this article, you would know कि October 7 पे जो अटैक था हमस का, उसमें a lot of people were saying that India had a was seen to take as Israel's side. You will read when this C. Raja Mohan article, you will get to know that there is this reservation that India took an Israel side, but now there is a balancing act. Okay, so there are four important things which Raja Mohan बताते हैं इन इंडिया के स्टैंड के बारे में. पहला वो कहते हैं कि Delhi, that is India's engagement with the two countries, is huge, and there has never been a question of choosing between the two. But this October 7th में जब हुआ था, जब हमास का जो the attack by Hamas जो था, उसको हम कई लोग कहते थे that has been a India stand towards Israel side, but this is seen as a balancing act. This is number one. Number two, he's saying that Delhi is paying attention to internal contradictions in Middle East region. Okay, and then again he also tells you that which are the important players in the Middle East, जो कि मैंने आपको पहले ही बोला that in the atlas you have to find. So Delhi is paying more attention to the internal contradictions in the Middle East. Again, third important thing which is there is that very prominently it mentions that religion cannot be dominant factor to deal with the Middle East. What is going to be the dominant factor then? Merit of the various cases. Okay, the merit of the situation, the merit of the cases. So that has to be important for framing India's stand, and that is something which is mentioned here, especially in this Middle East region. And finally, India's interest is not just limited to oil and labor export. तो आपको पता है ये region बहुत important हो जाता है for oil. Okay, and that's why it has been mentioned that it is not just oil, and you all know that as it is mentioned in the article, that the Gulf Arab states, especially Saudi Arabia and UAE, have emerged as a major economic and political partners for India. And in this, oil and labor has been an important factor. That is not just our limitation. There should not be just limitation. At least this recent stand of India is suggesting that. And so these are the four important things which have been mentioned. Now there's another mention of how Iran has been very important player for us, because you know that it is important. It has been important for shaping India's relation with Pakistan, Afghanistan, Central Asia, and so on. Finally, there is this paragraph which I want you all to pay attention, and that is the Gulf Arab Partnership transcends the bilateral and acquired a regional character in the wider Indian Ocean littoral. They are also critical in the realization of the Indian Middle East Europe corridor, that is India Middle East European corridor, IMEC, which today is at the top of India's trans-regional agenda. तो ये please underline कर लीजिए. तो ये particular article आपको current situation बता रहा है. It is also telling you what is India's stand and what are the four shifts. It mentions that why this region is very important, and also about the importance of these countries here. So you have to pay attention to this article from all perspective. Also open the atlas, please, and look at these places. All right, mark the places which have been in news here. Also, please pay attention to the capitals of these countries. See it in also relation with the wars which are happening. For example, the Hamas attack earlier, that has to be paid attention to, and then other countries जहाँ पे wars हो रही हैं, because wars are in news, so you must know something about them at least. Now come to the second pick. The second pick is again an important pick. It comes from the explained page, and it is important because it's an election season. And the title, the headline is Lamb to Lotus, Two Bullocks, Two Hands, a story of symbols. Now there are two parts of this particular explainer. It talks about political symbols to political parties. That's something I think you can ignore for the time being. But how symbols are given, that is important. Now just look at the first paragraph. It says that election symbols are a critical component of elections. We all know that. They are a party's identity which help voters recognize candidates. When parties split, a battle is fought for the election symbol. So we have seen this thing also in too much of news. There have been splitting in parties, who gets what symbols. इसलिए symbols बहुत news में है, इसलिए इसके बारे में जानना जरूरी है. Now, why at all symbols? Okay, why did the election commission, since the first election, thought of symbols? Okay, उसका एक बहुत simple सा answer है, and it is mentioned here. Before the first Lok Sabha election of 1951-52, the Election Commission of India realized that election symbols were critical in a country where the literacy rate was less than 20%. And not just that, not only the literacy rate, but also you have to give symbols which are recognizable to a common man, okay, which does not show any religious sentiments, which does not show any kind of association such as cow, temple, okay, national flag, kuch bhi nahi. So symbols which are simple and they can be recognizable to people who are to a country where literacy rate was less. Now that became a trend. Now the important part here is allotment of symbols, and you should pay attention to, and I'm reading it, and you must underline the important things. At present, Rule 5 and 10 of Conduct of Election Rules 1961 deals with symbols. Please, attention to this line. It's a very important prelims-based question. Rule 5 states that the ECI shall specify the symbols that may be chosen by candidates at election in parliamentary or assembly constituency and the restriction to which their choice shall be subject. The election symbol, Reservation and Allotment Order 1968, defines, and you must underline, reserved symbol as one that is reserved for a recognized political party for exclusive allotment to its contesting candidates. Now, what is a free symbol? A free symbol is a symbol other than a reserved symbol. So, दो तरह के symbol हैं, reserved and free. Free symbols are allotted to independents and unrecognized registered parties based on their request and preferences. Now, after this, the article tells about symbols to various political parties. You can just have a look. Look at those first few political parties and symbols during the time of independence of the first election. They can, you must have an idea about that. But basically, from polity angle, how are the symbols allotted? This Rule 5, Rule 10 of the Election Rules 1961. Then you should know about there are two kinds of symbols, the free symbols and the reserved symbols. So ये चीज आपको ध्यान में रखनी है. Okay, so in this election season, a lot of general knowledge around this polity and elections will come, so pay attention to that. Now my third important read is again from explained page. Now start with a simple question. Can sun-sized stars generate magnetic field? Can they generate magnetic field? The answer is yes. Now sometimes space पे बहुत detailed articles आ जाते हैं, you sometimes repetitive of things, but you must pay attention to the smaller points which can create questions बन सकते हैं इनसे. तो सबसे पहले कि सन साइज स्टार्स जो होते हैं, मैनी सन साइज स्टार्स जो होते हैं, वो मैग्नेटिक फील्ड जनरेट करते हैं. इट इज अ ट्रू स्टेटमेंट. ठीक है, अब पढ़ना स्टार्ट करिए. दैट टू लार्ज स्टार्स residing inside a spectacular cloud of gas and dust nicknamed the Dragon's Egg Nebula. Please underline Dragon's Egg Nebula, have long presented a puzzle to astronomers. One of them has a magnetic field like our sun, but its company does not. So एक का है, दूसरे का नहीं है. Moreover, such massive stars are not usually associated with nebula. So ये दो reasons की वजह से ये काफी important हो जाता है. Now, what does the new research found? According to a study published on Thursday in the journal Science, the bigger star apparently gobbled up a third smaller sibling star, and the mixing of their stellar material during their hostile takeover created a magnetic field. तो मैग्नेटिक फील्ड बनी, क्यों बनी, उसका रीजन यहाँ पे मेंशन किया जाएगा. नाउ द सेकेंड इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज basically the fourth paragraph, जिसको अंडरलाइन करना चाहिए. The two remaining stars gravitationally bound to each other in what is called a binary system are located in our Milky Way galaxy about 3,700 light years from Earth in the constellation Norma. A light year is a distance light travels in a year, roughly 9.5 trillion kilometer. The next important point, the whole article is important, but you must not go in detail. The next important line is the last line, and it says many of sun-sized stars generate magnetic field. इस एक line से बहुत question बन सकता है. So just pay attention to such kind of things. You should know what to read and what not to read. It's very important. जितना जरूरी है ये जानना कि हमें न्यूज़पेपर से क्या पढ़ना है, उतना ही जरूरी है कि हमें क्या नहीं पढ़ना है वो जानना है. Okay, that's all from me today. You can write to me at manas.srivastava@indianexpress.com. Tell me what else you need from us. And as I say, think smart, work hard, conquer your goal. Bye-bye.